Sup guys, welcome to a new tutorial series that I'm going to be doing. This one is going to kind of substitute our multiplayer and replication, and I was kind of doing that series to give you an introduction to replication in Unreal, but now that I've kind of done 8 videos about it and I was kind of getting into more specific mechanics, I'm going to be starting a new series that is going to be doing a prop-end game. So I'm going to be going from start to finish creating a prop-end game, and I hope you guys can follow up through that, and you're gonna learn how to make we're gonna get into the game. We're gonna choose a player to be a hunter, the rest is going to be props, and then we're gonna handle the obvious stuff like shooting the props, becoming another prop in the scenery, like finding a term to end the game, and like restart and all of that. But for today's video, I'm just going to make sure that we can spawn both the prop and hunters into the level. And the way that I'm going to do that is basically I'm going to be using the third person character as a template for both, and I'm just going to go into the beginning of the game and decide which one is going to be the hunter. So how I'm going to do that is I'm going to open the third person game mode, and I'm going to be using this as default. Sorry, not a default. I'm going to be using this to run the code to decide who is going to be the hunter. And I'm just going to go over here into the world settings on the level. If you don't got this opened, you can go into window and open your world settings, go over into the game mode override and use the third person game mode. Now I'm just going to do something. I guess I can do a new custom event, and I'm going to call this server spawn players. And what I'm going to be doing with this is basically I'm going to be wanting to basically create or spawn, like not really spawn. The third person characters are going to already be in the level, because when you play you're going to automatically spawn. But I want to use this to decide which ones are going to be the props and the hunter. So first of all, I'm going to get all actors of class, because I'm going to want to get a reference to all the third person characters in the level. And then I'm going to be wanting to do a for each loop. I'm just going to do something for kind of add something random. So I'm going to choose someone at random. I'm going to get the integer, not the integer, the length. And I'm going to subtract the -1. Because remember, the indexes on array start from 0, so the length we got to subtract. So when we get from this array, we get the correct member that we want. And now I'm just going to type random integer in range. This is going to give us a random integer between a minimum and a max. The minimum is going to be 0, and the max is going to be basically all the indexes that are in the array. And this is going to give us the index of a random player, and we're going to be using that one to be the hunter. So I'm going to go here, I'm going to go into the array index, and I'm going to see which ones have the correct index. I'm going to plug that into a branch, and now I'm going to want to basically decide, or having a function inside the third person character. So I'm going to go over and open that up. I'm going to find a blank space and create a new custom event called server set player. I'm going to make that replicated on the server, and I'm going to create a new input and just call it is hunter. I'm going to add the branch into that. Actually, I'm going to right click and promote this to a variable, and I'm going to call this is hunter. So we've got a reference on our BP, on our blueprint of the character, which one we are, so we can use in like future mechanics. We got a reference to if you are hunter or not. And if we are hunter, we're gonna want to just leave it as we are, because we're gonna like have a character, but we're gonna be able to shoot. If not, I'm just going to go into our mesh, and I think I am going to create a new parameter over here in the function, and I'm gonna make that of the type let me see, skeletal mesh component. And I'm gonna make that a reference, because if you guys remember, over on the other series that I did about replication, we cannot get direct access when we are running stuff on the server. We cannot drag in components into the graph, because like the server won't know which player it corresponds. So we gotta plug everything from the function, basically, the event. So what I want to do is basically I want to set the visibility. If it's false, I want to set the visibility to be invisible, and I'm going to set the collision. Set collision enabled to no collision, because I want basically the mesh of the player to be invisible. And now I'm going to want to create a new component, and this is going to be of the type static mesh, and this is going to be the prop mesh. And the prop mesh is basically going to be so when we become a prop, we're going to set this and it will appear on the level, on the character, sorry. So we're gonna want to leave that as default. We gotta give it some, like a cube, I guess. We can leave that at the cube. And now if you go to the viewport, you can see you kinda got a problem with the collision, but we're gonna take a look at how we can manipulate our capsule component for that kind of stuff. But that's going to be in a future tutorial. But for today, I believe now if we go into our third person game mode and we call that function that is named server set player, we can now say who is the hunter, and if it's true that this integer corresponds to the one that we chosen randomly, it's going to be the hunter. The mesh, we're going to get the mesh, that's going to be in the end of the list, I believe. There you go. And if it's false, we are going to say that is hunter is false, and we're going to connect this up. And now if I got everything correctly, the target is going to be the array element. And if I believe everything to be correct, this will work. And the only thing that we'll see, and if we are the hunter, we're going to want to create a new input over here in the event. We're going to call this prop mesh. It's going to be of the type static mesh component reference, and we're going to want to also set the visibility to be invisible, and set the collision to no collision if we are the hunter. So I'm just going to comment this and say, so comment this to be set player hunter or prop. I'm not going to comment really on the game mode because I don't think we're going to be doing a lot of stuff there. So I'm going to leave that for now. And now we can actually test this out. So I'm going to go into over here, and I am going to get 3 players. Oh yeah, okay, there's a problem. I gotta go over here, delete this, and I gotta replicate or basically duplicate the player spawns. So you do alt and left click drag to create a couple of spawn points. Oh, and I'm stupid, I forgot that I have to call this function. So over here in the third person game mode, when the event begin play, I'm just going to give it a little bit of a delay so things don't bug out, and then I'm going to call that function server spawn players, and now it should work. So I'm going to play, That's interesting. Okay, we got an error here. Let's see what it is. So I think I forgot to connect the prop mesh. There you go. I'm gonna have to go over here and get the prop mesh. It's gonna be over to the end of the list. Connect that up. Let's see if everything is all right. Okay, that's very interesting. So in the server it kind of worked. And it's always the server that is chosen, never the clients, and the clients are having both, which doesn't make any sense. I wonder if it's a problem with this over here. I'm not quite sure. Let me just pause and see. I'm probably forgetting something. I'm just gonna pause and get back in a minute. Okay, so I figured out what's wrong. First of all, over in the third person game mode, the 0.2 seconds that were here, it's not enough because the game mode begins as the server begins, and the clients take a little bit while longer to spawn. So just go ahead and make this 2 seconds. And also, I noticed that because we are running this on the server from the game mode that only exists on the server, and then on the third person we are already executing on the server again, the clients will know that we are doing these changes because it's only executing through the server. The clients never receive the information. So you need to go over in the third person character, click on the server set player, set to a multicast, because we need to tell everyone that this is happening. And I'm just gonna go over here and change this from server to multicast. Now if you go ahead and test this out, you can see that past 2 seconds someone, oh, that's weird. No one got chosen to be a prop. That wasn't supposed to happen. It should be the other way around. Wait, let me just check that. On the third person game mode, I'm getting this a random integer, and if one of these gets to be the equal index, you're going to say that is the hunter. If false, we're going to be the prop. So I don't get why is this not working. Let me just play again. There you go, now it's working. I don't know why it wasn't working before, but as you can see on the server and on the client, both of the players, the 3 of the players, it's in the same on the screen. You can see that the server is the hunter, and we've got the 2 props that are the 2 clients, and that is correctly replicated. You can walk around and see the changes in effect. Now you can see that the prop is kind of floating. That's because I didn't adjust the collision to the other object, but that's fine. That's going to be a fix probably in the next video. I just finding where for the, like, sometimes we have 3 props and we don't have a hunter. That's weird. I'd like to know why is it doing this. Like, it's replicating correctly, but I don't understand why is it doing that. It's probably something wrong over here with this math. So let me just pause again and see what's wrong. Okay guys, I think I know what the problem is. Basically, because we are connecting this random, like it's connecting to the loop. Every time we check this equal, we get a new random, so it kind of gets three random numbers. We do not want that, so an easy way to fix that, just gonna get some space over here, go back, and instead of doing this directly, I'm just gonna go over here, promote this to a variable, and call this the let me see, enter ID. Can be like that. I'm just gonna go ahead and I'm going to set this up before. Then I'm gonna get the enter ID and check if it's equal. And because this variable is only set once, this should be equal for on the 3 loops, or wherever number of players you have. So let's play that, and it should work. So we should have 1 enter and 2 props. It's the same thing over here. It's correctly replicated. There you go. And now let's test again to see if it really works. As you can see, 2 props and 1 enter. That is changing over the players. Just 1 time more to make sure, and there you go. It's done. So now we have a new spawn where we select a hunter randomly from all the players. Then we're gonna make them be the hunter, and the other ones are going to be the props. So in the next video, I think before I actually get like into do like hide the screen of the hunter and that kind of stuff, I'm just going to fix over on the collision. I'm going to basically make the size of the capsule be more fitting of the object that we are hiding as. So yeah, that's going to be what I'm going to be doing on the next video. If you guys want to see anything more, or you want to give a suggestion, you can leave them in the comments. And I just want to apologize about like pausing, because I do these ones on the fly. I don't really prepare them, so mistakes are going to happen. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you all in the next one. Bye bye.